So I'm about ready to start a brand new journal. I'm getting to the point where in my current journal, I'm at the end. I've filled up. I haven't filled. I have something on every page. So there's something on almost every page in my current journal, and I'm ready to go ahead and start to transition into a new book. Usually, what I do is I end up carrying around both books for a while. So I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to prep the new journal. It's kind of a bit of a ritual that I typically do at the beginning when I'm ready to start a new journal, but it's something that I didn't do with this last journal because of being kind of in the midst of the pandemic. But anyway, so I wanted to go ahead and show you sort of my process about getting a journal prepped. So that's what I'm going to do today. And so let's go ahead and get started with it. So I've got my journal. This is an 11 by 14-inch book. I've typically been using a Strathmore hardbound sketchbook, but they're hard to find anymore. And I had this in my studio, so I thought, well, I might as well go ahead and use it. This is kind of the other brand that I use a lot, that I've used a lot in the past, and it's a Cachet Classic sketchbook. And so that's what I'm going to use today. So I'm going to prep this book. It's a brand new, completely blank book. And so I'm going to just kind of get it ready to start working in, and I'll probably start working in it this upcoming week or so. And I've got some materials here. I've got, scissors and a pencil. I've got a stylus in case I need to do some scoring and folding, a glue stick, a pen, and I've got stickers. That's really important. And I've got a couple rulers off to the side. So anyway, there's several things that I kind of do to get started. So the first one is to kind of think about, okay, I want a clean book. So I always remove the stickers. And sometimes they peel off easily, sometimes they don't, and you have to kind of clean them up. Of course, this one's gonna not be cooperative. All right, so that's okay. Now it's coming off really well. So what I like to do is I like to take that, and instead of throwing it away, I like to stick it inside of the book. And this just allows me to know what this book is, or if other people ask. A lot of times people are like, oh, what book do you use? So anyway, and then a lot of times they have a sticker on the back. This tells me exactly what it is and what the surface is and everything. So I can go ahead and peel that off. So down here at the bottom, it says it's a 70 pound or 110 grams per square meter. So again, I can just peel that off and stick that in. And I just like putting it right in the back of the book. And so then that way if I ever forget, like, oh, what's the weight, what's the type. So anyway, one of the things that I like to do a lot with my journals is to start covering with stickers. And with the book that I'm working in now, I don't have any stickers on it whatsoever, because I did it during the pandemic, and I didn't really go anywhere. And I always feel like these are sort of like the old steamer trunks, so places that you've gone, things that you've done. And so with the new book, I've been collecting stickers over the last year or so. So I've got quite a few, and I'm just going to pop those on. I just kind of feel like, stickers start to, I don't know, it just makes it feel like, it starts to give some character to the book. Makes it feel like, hey, somebody loves this book, somebody owns this book. So I might not use all of them. So these are stickers I got from an Appalachian Trail festival a few weeks ago. I have a John C. Campbell Folk School sticker that I got when I was down there right before the pandemic. And I'm not worrying about filling the whole thing, because things are going to come up, right? I'm gonna be doing things throughout the upcoming months, and I'll collect them. And over, usually takes me about a year to fill one of these. So, you know, I'm going to leave room. I'm a Mac guy, and I bought a new MacBook computer. So, you know, slap that on there. Here's a sticker from, actually from when I got my classes. Okay, so put a few on the front. I'm gonna flip it over and put a couple on the back. So, you know, the stickers really kind of start to personalize the book and just kind of, and it just always makes me feel like, okay, now I can kind of dive into it. I like to overlap stickers a lot too. Okay, I think I'll put one more on. And so many times it's, you know, I collect stickers from places that I travel. A lot of times you can find free stickers here and there. So, all right, so that's the sticker part. That's probably the easiest thing. And there's a couple other things that I do to the book to get it going, to get it started. And one of those things is to work on the inside cover. So I like to open it up. And, you know, that's kind of a big space. I'm not going to start any of the pages yet, but I do want to do something in the cover. And there's a couple things that I do. Of course, I put my name on it, and I put my contact information in the book, and then that way, if yeah, so I put, sorry, I got a little distracted. I put my contact information in the book. That way, in case it gets lost, and hopefully somebody would return it. So I like to put my address, my email, and my phone number. When I taught high school, I would tell my students, I said, you might not want to put your address in there, you know, because then somebody can find it and then they know where you live, kind of thing. So I said, you know, just put some kind of contact information, an email or something in there. And that way, if you lose it, you know, somebody's going to look at it and go, oh, wow, I got to get this back to this person. So that's kind of like the main thing that I put in is my contact information. Sometimes I'll put in what I call the visual journalist oath, which I'm not going to do that today, but it's just a little like saying that I like to put in sometimes. I don't always do it. So there's other things that you could put in there as well. But anyway, so that's kind of the front inside cover. Now I want to turn it to the back of the book. So back here, what I like to do is I like to put a pocket. So of course I collect a lot of stuff, a lot of fodder. So as I go throughout, especially traveling, you could just get so much stuff. And so I like to have a pocket here. There's lots of different ways of doing a pocket. I could cut it from a piece of paper and tape it in. I could cut this page in half and glue this the top half to the page behind it. And then I could use the flap that's down here as the pocket. But for me, that kind of like always uses up a page, and I don't like that. So what I like to do is I like to take a separate piece of paper, and so it just has to be hopefully a little bit wider than this. So I could just cut a pocket out of here and just tape it in. But what I want to do is I'm going to fold the edges and make flaps that I can glue in. And so this is just a piece of drawing paper that's probably a little bit thicker than what the page is in the book. So this came from a drawing pad, a separate drawing pad, and it's a 9x12. And so since this is 11, I know I'm going to have about a ½ inch on each side. And I could measure this, like, get out the ruler. I mean, I do have the ruler, but that can be, it's just, I mean, it's not super time consuming, but I eyeball a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do is just mark. So I've laid it out where it's about a ½ inch. Actually, no, let's move that over. So I'm going to mark where I want the flaps to be folded. Okay, so I'm going to fold the ends to make 2 flaps. And then I can do the same thing down here. Okay, so I've just put 2 little marks there, and I can do flaps. And then I want, well, maybe I'll wait until I get those flaps folded. So the easiest way to do those, because it's such a thin flap, is to use a ruler. So that's why I have the stylus out, and I've got a couple rulers here. So sorry, it's kind of under some stuff. And then I'm just going to take this and line up my marks, and then I'm going to use the stylus to score the paper. So it just makes a little bit of a indentation into the paper. And then I can just fold that over. Gives me a flap. So again, I can do the same thing. Let's turn this around this way. So like I said, there's a number of ways to do pockets. This is not the only way. All right. And so that's going to be glued in. The flaps will be glued to the page behind it. And then, it's usually about halfway up. So if this is 14 inches, if I do about 7 inches, and I could measure it, and I just might, just to kind of make it easy, then that will be where the bottom part kind of folds in. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and unfold that. Yeah, just mark it, just measure 7 inches. And then do the same thing that I did and make the score mark. Then you can fold that one up. Okay, so what happens is I've got 3 flaps, and I do want to cut out down here. I don't have to, but I'm just going to cut this out, this little section here, and I just angle. So it might be hard to see, but I make a little angle here and a little angle there. And so that way it just will fold up a little bit easier. So I'm just going to cut that out and then do the same thing over here. So like if this is too complicated, if you're just like, I don't want to make a pocket like that. I mean, make a pocket any way you can, any way you want. In the past, I've done it where I've just used where I've just used like a manila envelope. So anyway, so let's get that out of the way. Now I'm ready to glue it, and then I'll put it onto the page. So I've got, let me find it. I've got my glue paper here. This is just an old blank sketchbook. And what I want to do is I want to put glue here, here, and down here. So let's start with this bigger spot. Then I'm just going to use my Uhu glue stick. This is what I use a lot for my collage and things. And then just try to get it right up against that fold. And with using the blue, I can really see how much glue I can get on. It went a little bit crazy with the glue. All right, so there's one. And then I'm going to do this edge, do the same thing. Flip this edge. Okay. So I'm going to start with the bigger flap at the bottom. Actually, you know what? I'm going to fold this in, because then what I can do is fold in that flap and then do the same thing over here. And so then they'll start to stick. Hopefully I'm getting glue all over me. Come on, gotta do this quickly so that it doesn't totally dry. And then I can position it at the bottom. There we go. So just make sure those flaps are tucked in. Okay, rub that in, and you can see the line there. That is the pocket. And like I said, it's about halfway. And then now I have a pocket to put stuff in. So yeah, so like I've got some pieces over here, you know, just an index card that I painted on. Oh, I want to save that. I can throw that in there, and then I have it. The other thing is that it's big enough, this pocket's big enough I could put flexible stencils in it too. And so I glue it to this page. I don't glue it to the cover, because that allows the pocket to open and this page to flex. If I glued it over here, I would not be able to get my hand in it, because it would have been kind of glued flat. So it's really important. So anyway, so now that I have my pocket, the next thing I like to do is to put a calendar. And the way I do a calendar is a little bit different than what you might think. I don't print out a calendar from the computer. I don't buy a calendar and cut it up. I create my own calendar for the back. And what I do is I do a continuing calendar, and I actually start here. So I'll start, you know, October. So I'll start with October, and then November, December, January, and then February, March. So it's usually about, I can usually get at least 2 months, maybe 2.5 months on each page. And then I'm going to turn to a different ruler. So I've got this ruler, and this ruler I find it fits pretty well as I go down, and I can get an even number of spaces. So anyway, what I'll do is I start over here, and I just start with the ruler on the edge. Sorry for the glare from the light. And I just draw. I don't measure. I just take and use the width of the ruler, and I just draw a line. And that didn't draw very well. Let me get my thicker pen. Let's try that again. There we go. And then I just do that 7 times. That way that's the days of the week. There's 2. 3. 4. Six and 7. So just wanted to make sure. So this doesn't take me all the way to the end, and so I'm okay with that. So I'll have this space, and I actually like having this space because then I can write down numbers. I can write down different things. So I'm going to turn the ruler now this way. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start from the bottom. The reason is that in that way, this will be where I put, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, put the days of the week at the top. And I just do the same thing. So there's 1. And what I've found, since I have done this a whole lot over the years, is that if I just make each of these rows a little bit wider than the ruler, then I usually come up sort of pretty evenly spaced. Even if I come up and it's real skinny at the top, that's okay, because I just need to put the days of the week in the very top row. So I know some folks would be like, why go through all that trouble to do a calendar? And it's like, well, because it's part of that ritual. So you see how it's pretty even. So just, kind of draw that in. That's a pretty even grid. All right, so then just gonna draw the letters up here for the days of the week. Okay, so that's the days of the week, and now I want to start thinking about the days of the month. So I'm not going to start with January because it's not January. Depending on when you're watching this video, today is the 8th of October, which is a Friday. So I think what I'll do is I'll use this as the 8th. So October. So 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd. It doesn't matter that I don't have the 1st and 2nd in because today's the 8th. So when I'm going to be using this is going to be after today. So, whenever I start to add all my stuff, but I am going to write in October, at least the first 3 letters. So October 8th, 9th, and then just date each one. Okay, and then we end up with the 31st there. So just want to, I'm actually checking because sometimes I'll miss a number. It's kind of funny when you're like, oh, how did I skip a number? And you're just like, I don't know, somehow I did. So if I'm if I've numbered everything correctly, then yes, November 1st. So this will be November 1st. Uh, I don't know how many times I've messed up the calendars. So November 1st. All right, and November has 30 days. This is going to be December. So that takes me to the 18th of December. I'll do the same thing over here. I'll draw the same grid. I'll start here and work over so that I have a margin here. And then I'll just continue with December, January, and then into February. So that'll take me into February. I'll probably do another page. But the last thing I like to do, so I'm not going to do that right now. I could do that later. But one of the things I like to do is I like to split the months because when we think about it, we're used to seeing calendars like a month at a time, and but really they're perpetual, right? So they really fit into each other like this. So what I like to do is just to have a thicker, bolder line between the months, and it just helps me to visually separate the months. And do the same thing here for December. Okay, so there we go. So it's kind of prepped. Like I said, I will probably put another calendar page here, and I'll probably do another one here. It takes me usually a year and a half to fill a journal. So that's another reason why I kind of start on this page. So it's on the page, it's on the back of my pocket. I've got my calendar. So that way, if I need to add pages, because sometimes it might take me 2 years to fill it, I can add more months as I work through. So anyway, that's kind of why I do it kind of backwards. If you're wondering like, why is he doing it that way? So anyway, so that's the calendar. Got my book ready. Some people I know, like my buddy Dave, he likes to put the volume number. I'm really bad about keeping track of what volume I'm on. I think this is like number 30 or 31. But yeah, so if you had a whole bunch of them, you could put the volume. Oh, I forgot one thing. So the last thing is I forgot whenever I had the front cover open. So what I like to do is to put initiated and retired dates. So I'm going to put today's date, since I prepped it a lot. Sometimes I'll wait until I actually work in it, but I'll probably work in it today or tomorrow or shortly thereafter. So October 8th, 2021, and then retired date. So at some point I will stop working in it. I'll put it up on the shelf, and if I remember, I'll put the date. I often don't put the date on it because usually what happens is I just stop working in it one day, and because even if it's not totally finished or complete or resolved, and what will happen is I will just sort of stop working in it, and then just kind of like, okay, I'll put it on the shelf now. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that peek into how I prepare a new journal. There are lots of different ways of doing that. So I think every artist has kind of a different ritual. Some folks just kind of put a date on it. Some folks don't even do anything and they just start kind of working in it. So if you've got any kind of rituals or anything that you do to prep to get a new journal going, I'd love to hear about it. So you can put that in the comments. Yeah, so I'm glad you were able to join me for this. And thank you so much. And as always, happy creating.